Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargav. Welcome to Tit-Bits on Business and Finance with me. The fact today is that not all banking and corporate and financial crimes have been investigated and are out in the open. To us, just a small percentage of these kind of crimes have been investigated and prosecuted, and a large number continue to remain hidden. With rising NPAs, with rising incidences of bank frauds, the reality is that the CBI and banks continue to occupy newspaper headlines on account of various cases under investigation by the CBI. The CBI of late has been extremely busy. Between 2018 to 2020 alone, the CBI has filed cases, has been conducting investigation in cases where bank frauds took place, and the total amount involved is over 1 lakh crores. 2020 may have been a year of a lockdown, a year of the COVID pandemic, but in 2020 alone, the CBI filed a record 200 cases in case of bank frauds, and the amount involved was 70,000 crore rupees. In 2019, this figure was 100 cases filed by the CBI, and the amount involved was 20,000 crores. Investigation of bank crimes, investigation of banking frauds is a specialized job. And because of that, the CBI today has got over 50 bank officers on deputation who are assisting it in investigating the banking crimes that have taken place, because of which banks have been looted by various borrowers. A recent newspaper report says that the CBI conducted raids at 100 locations in 11 states and union territories in 28 cities. And these raids were conducted pursuant to complaints filed by various public sector banks. They were in respect of 30 cases where the loan involved is about 3,700 crore of rupees. And whenever such kind of raids are conducted, the CBI always comes out with incriminating documents and evidence which clearly prove that blatant banking frauds took place, such that monies were siphoned away on a large scale basis. Yet another newspaper report talks about Rotomac. Rotomac has been at the center of a large banking fraud involving about 3,695 crores. And this report says that yet another case has been filed by CBI against another group company of Rotomac. And this was filed pursuant to a complaint registered by the Union Bank of India. In this case, the CBI found out that the company had indulged in bogus exports. Exports never really did take place. The buyers abroad never really existed. Goods never really moved. And yet the company took loans from the banks in order to fund its bogus exports, which, as we said, never took place. For the purpose of involving this kind of a huge banking fraud, Rotomac even submitted a large number of fraudulent financial statements and records, all to hide a scammy reality, exports that never took place, and the CBI is investigating it. Another newspaper report talks about Dewan Housing Finance Limited. A recent finding of CBI is that Dewan Housing Finance Limited recorded bogus loans, housing loans of 88,651 bogus accounts, where it claimed that it had given loans to the tune of 11,755 crores. And these loans were claimed to have been given under the Prime Minister Awas Yojana. By doing that, DHFL managed to take away fraudulently from the Government of India interest subsidy to the tune of 1,880 crores. These are just some recent reports of newspapers in respect of investigations being conducted by the CBI for various banking frauds. And we said these newspapers continue to mount. As we said, the CBI investigation in bank frauds has merely touched the tip of the iceberg. Compared to the number of banking frauds that have taken place, the number of cases that have been investigated by the CBI are just a small fraction of the total. Most of them remain hidden. Most of them have not been investigated. Despite this situation, which warrants that banking frauds must be investigated by the CBI on an increasing basis, despite this, recent reports say that the government may be restricting the CBI investigation very soon only to those banking frauds where the amounts involved are either big or the fraud is a sensitive one, or it involves fugitives who have ran away from India. It would be restricted to cases like Nirav Modi and Mehul Chokshi, where the amount involved is 13,578 crores, or a case of Vijay Mallya, where the bank fraud is to the tune of 9,000 crores, or the case of Transtroy, where they cheated the banking system to the tune of 7,926 crores, or IVCRL, where the amount that was taken away from the banking system in a fraudulent manner was about 4,837 crores. Or take the recent case of Shakti Bhogata, where the banks had lent 3,269 crores to the company and the money has been siphoned away. Or take the case of ICICI Bank and Chanda Kochar, where corruption was involved and the amount involved in that Videocon case where bribes were given to Chanda Kochar was to the tune of 1,875 crores. Or CBI will continue to investigate the likes of Rana Kapoor, where he indulged in financial crimes as Yes Bank and the amount involved was 4,300 crores. The reports say that it is these kind of cases which will henceforth be investigated by the CBI, and the others might be taken over by the likes of SFIO or any other agency. The fact is that the government proposes to keep the CBI out of routine banking fraud investigations and keep it only for the bigger cases, the sensitive cases, and where the promoters have become fugitives. The reports say that this move of the government is in order to allay the fears of bankers. The bankers fear investigation by the CBI, and they particularly fear it where they have taken genuine business decisions and lent, but the decisions have gone bad. This decision of the government to keep the CBI away is only to give peace to the bankers so that they are not discouraged from indulging in lending, which they are at the moment. Bankers are afraid of the 3 C's as they are called, which is the CBI, CVC, CAG, and the fourth one that we would put is courts. In order to ensure that those bona fide banking decisions that have gone bad are not investigated and bankers are not hounded, it is proposed that keep CBI out of banking fraud investigations and let some other agency take it over. This proposal is in tune with the pronouncements and announcements and statements that come from the finance minister and prime minister from time to time, where they have said that bankers must lend without fear, and where the finance minister has said that the bankers must not fear the 3 C's as she calls it. This is the reason why they say that the CBI's role in investigating banking frauds must be reduced. We think otherwise. We think that banking and financial frauds and crimes are very serious crimes. Because of these crimes, lakhs of crores of rupees of public money have been looted. They have been blatantly looted because of meddling by netas and banks in India's banking system. It is a serious crime. Apart from the crime being serious, the fact also is that India's banking system has had very poor accountability. It is best symbolized by the fact that lakhs of crores of public money have been looted, banks have been recapitalized, and no worthwhile questioning has taken place of the bankers concerned. The entire functioning of banks lacks accountability. Money is given in a large way to unworthy cronies. Right from lending to restructuring to settlement to recovery to write-off of the money, the entire process truly lacks accountability. And as we said, large amounts of public money are involved, and there needs to be serious investigation by the likes of CBI, and thus we think that the government's decision needs to be reconsidered. In our opinion, these are extremely serious crimes. They involve lakhs of crores of public money, and they concern the accountability of bankers, and because of that, the role and rigors of agencies like CBI, CVC, CAG and the courts cannot be diluted and cannot be diminished by any manner. Fraudulent and errant bankers and borrowers need to be punished, and for that, the role of CBI in investigating such crimes should not be reduced as the government is trying to do. It would be wrong to restrict the role of CBI in investigating banking crimes. On the other hand, we think that the CBI's resources that are there to investigate such crimes must be strengthened in order to make it more effective. And what needs to be done for that? We think that the CBI needs to be better equipped in terms of trained manpower and also in terms of tools and softwares and equipment in order to detect and prosecute these kind of crimes. The next is that the government itself needs to stop meddling in the functioning of CBI. It is this meddling that makes it an ineffective body, and that's the need of the hour. Further, banking crimes can be complicated, and they need a multidisciplinary team in CBI itself to investigate such crimes so as to ensure that the investigation is effective and that prosecution takes place in a time-bound manner much before the man who looted the system has enjoyed the loot and has vanished. Further, prosecution must take place both of the borrower and of the banker too, because it is both of them who colluded in order to commit such a crime. And while this is being done, the CBI must also investigate those cases where there have been delays by the banks in filing complaints before the CBI, where frauds have been very apparent and very blatant. Experience says that very often bankers themselves delay filing complaints before the CBI in order to protect their own colleagues, and that needs to be stopped. And finally, we need to keep the CBI above board. The CBI is mired in too many controversies, and a controversial agency of this sort is not as effective as it can be in case it is above controversies. And we think that is where the real challenge lies for CBI and for the government too. This is Akhilesh Bhargav signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
Hello everyone. HW News English is 2 years old now. When we started this venture, we promised ourselves one thing, that news should remain free, because right to know is the right of every Indian. But to keep news free for everyone, we need support from some of you. And thus we have rolled out membership on our YouTube channel HW News English. But mind you, the membership is completely voluntary. The programs that we were doing earlier, that we are doing now, will continue to remain free. First level is a basic level. Here, you can be our supporter by paying Rs 199 per month. This membership gives you certain perks and benefits. The perks include unique badges in front of your name, a live show from Mr. Sujit Nair and from Mr. Akhilesh Bhargava per month for our members. You can also vote in some exclusive members-only polls. Now the second level is Super Supporter. Here you can be our Super Supporter by paying Rs 3,999 per month. This membership will include every perk that comes with basic level. Additionally, our Super Supporters can be a part of a WhatsApp group where we can have discussions and suggestions on various topics. The second perk includes a gift pack with our merchandise. And the third perk is a Google Meet with Mr. Sujit Nair, where you can join the meet and ask your questions to Mr. Nair face to face. Lastly, if you like, we would give a shout out to our super supporters in our programs. So, hope to see you soon with our badges.